Hi, my name is Gretchen Long, and I teach in the history department at Williams College. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about a sort of technique I use in discussion classes. Most of my classes are small and sort of structured around discussion. But when I first started teaching, I realized there were a couple problems with how I had sort of imagined discussions running. One was that a lot of the same people would talk over and over again, and there would always be by the third week or so of the semester, there were sort of the people committed to talking and then the people committed to silence. And I thought a lot about how to sort of break up that dynamic. And the other was this sort of, now and again, this sort of turgid feeling about 2/3 of the way through the class where we'd gone through it and people were just sort of going through the motions. And I thought a lot of it was people were tired, and the class where I came up with this was right after lunch, and people were getting sleepy and dopey. So I thought of an idea. I use the Blackboard a fair amount in larger classes, but I started using it a lot in smaller classes as well. And at first, I would just go to the board and sort of keep track of the discussion on the board, and so I would jump up and refer to points and draw arrows and this and that. But recently, I've started expanding that where I send students to the board to do that. And I tend to get the people committed to silence to go up there, because if you are a note taker for the class, you have to not so much run discussion, but keep track of it, make connections by drawing arrows and this and that. The most successful way I think that I do it is to start off a discussion class. Say I'll have put people in small groups, which is, an old trick that I think a lot of teachers use, of 3 or 4, and I assign the groups, and I try to apportion out the people committed to silence, or who I suspect may be leaning toward committing to silence, and I make them the scribe. They keep track of the discussion in the small group, which only lasts about 10 minutes. And they are the ones who are going to go to the board. So say there will be 5 groups, and I'll give the groups a question like, name 3 things in these piece of readings that are discordant with each other, or that you disagree with, or that you think are not supported. Usually it's a very sort of critical exercise. And then after the 10 minutes are up, I send the scribes to the board, and they each have to write the sort of summary of their group discussion and draw a circle around it. And then the scribes stay up there at the board. And how the discussion begins is each scribe tells what their group did. And it's a very simple thing, but for one thing, it gets them talking. And they have to actually speak. They actually have to move around. They have to show their handwriting on the board. They don't have a choice about it. But they don't have to sort of come up with some brilliant point. They're just reporting. And sometimes, it doesn't work always, but it has moved, I think, some people who are committed to silence a little bit more into the talking role. It also is sort of an equalizer, because I have terrible handwriting and I use the board anyway. And so I like to sort of say, it's okay to have bad handwriting. That's not, penmanship is done. We're just talking about ideas, and I draw a lot of pictures and symbols and arrows, and I hope that the students will start to do that too.